At the start of the Clone Wars Season 3, we meet a clone who simply goes by 99. 99 was a clone who was unable to fight in the army due to the genetic and physical defects he suffered from. We learn that of the millions of clones that are made, some have genetic defects, whether it was on purpose or not, and 99 was one of them. 99 saw many clone cadets through the years, as he was stationed on Kamino as a maintenance worker. He grew attached to the cadets, and even though he himself was never given the chance to go out and fight alongside his fellow clones, he was always happy to see his brothers given the chance. This was especially the case for Domino Squad, which is the group he befriended in the episodes we see him in. Domino Squad is severely lacking in their training and not advancing when it comes to their test simulations, so much so that Lama Su, who was responsible for raising and growing clones, suggested casting them off. Shaak Ti, the Jedi Master overseeing the clones' training, didn't even know what to do with the squad, though she was not going to take Lama Su's advice of killing them. One of the members, CT-782, aka Heavy, felt responsible for the group's numerous failures. He had a hard time working with the team and was trying to do everything on his own. His guilt led to his attempt to leave the clone army, but he was stopped by none other than 99. While most people around the Domino Squad doubted them, 99 never did, and believed they were just as worthy as any other clone. Domino Squad was given one final chance to pass their test, and 99 convinced Heavy to take it just before he was about to leave the clone army. Heavy was dismissive at first, but that is when 99 changed his perspective.
We're nothing but a bad batch. Failures. Like you. Yeah, but how can I be a failure when I never even got my chance? There's a chance you're thrown away. You're always trying to be the anchor, Heavy. Do it on your own. Well, maybe you should embrace the fact that you have a team. See, I never had that. But you need them. And they need you.
This advice carried with Heavy the next day, and working together, the Domino Squad passed their test. They went on to graduate and learn to work as a team. Heavy felt so inspired by 99 that he gave him his own graduation medal, stating that 99 was part of the team. While 99 may be different from the other clones, that did not make him less than, and his impact on Heavy and the Domino Squad shows this. This message was brought up a few different times in the Clone Wars, which was especially important for the age demographic they were going for. The clones make the perfect analogies for kids who may feel like they don't belong, something lots of kids struggle with growing up. George Lucas always said that Star Wars was for 12-year-olds. It was a guide for teenagers who were just starting to grow up into adulthood, and the Clone Wars was no different with its goals. Unfortunately, 99 passed away when there was a separatist invasion on Kamino, but that wasn't until he did everything he possibly could to help his brothers out. He went from maintenance to distributing weapons to his fellow clones, and with his knowledge of Kamino, was able to lead the clones to the barracks in order to launch a surprise attack. He died attempting to get more grenades for his brothers to use against the droids. 99 died a true soldier. His sacrifice and his legacy would last forever. Jump 4 seasons ahead to the Clone Wars Season 7, where we are introduced to an entire group of clones with genetic mutations. They called themselves the Bad Batch. Hunter was given enhanced senses, Wrecker was given muscular enhancements, Tech was given enhanced intelligence, and Crosshair had enhanced eyesight. This squad was designated as Experimental Unit Clone Force 99, which is in reference to the clone 99. Much like 99, these clones were different from the other clones and stood out from the rest. This group was built off of the legacy of 99. This came full circle when Echo, an original member of Domino Squad, joined the Bad Batch. In the Citadel arc, Echo was caught in a blast that took most of his limbs and his lower torso, but he was caught and kept alive by the Separatist, who used him to get clone battle plans. Captain Rex noticed this was the case, as the droids in battle were copying plans he and Echo created, so he recruited the Bad Batch and executed a plan to rescue Echo. The Separatists had turned Echo into a cyborg, making him different from the other clones as well, so he joins the Bad Batch where he feels like he belongs and has a purpose. The Bad Batch is built on the message of standing out and finding your place in the galaxy, a group built on the idea of uniqueness and individuality. So what I think is interesting about the Bad Batch series is that when compared to the other major animated series, it is the one that strives the least for originality and uniqueness. The Bad Batch Season 1's entire personality is that it is a spin-off of the Clone Wars. It reminds you time and time again that this is indeed a Clone Wars show. A lot of the episodes seem to exist around characters returning from the other animated series that don't add a whole lot to the overall story. And while doing this, they ignore some of the main cast of characters in their show, as well as the actual story of the Bad Batch. It does not strive to stand out among the other Star Wars animated series. It just wants to straight up be those animated series. This is extremely different compared to the other animated series and how they were approached. The Clone Wars, for example, does rely a ton on the prequels and all the characters, locations, and storylines that come with those movies. However, it still brings in a ton of new elements, some which are extremely bold and sort of change the way we view the galaxy altogether. We meet new characters like Ahsoka Tano, a Jedi Padawan that isn't really like any Jedi we have seen before. We get to see all types of clone troopers with different personalities and lots of fresh new ideas that have never been done in Star Wars before. And the series that followed, Star Wars Rebels, was created with the intention of bringing in a new audience. So instead of just making it a direct sequel to the Clone Wars, they brought in a completely new cast of characters with even more new ideas than before. And while there were tons of elements brought in from other projects, especially the Clone Wars, the show still relied way more on the story that they created, following the Ghost Crew. The characters that were revisited were always used sparingly, in ways that genuinely served the story instead of just bringing in a character to excite fans and therefore carry the hype of the entire series. Star Wars Resistance was very much the same way. It still brought in things we know and love from time to time, but it focused much more on its own narrative. And both of these shows had different animation styles from the Clone Wars that made them feel like their own thing. And that is the biggest difference with the Bad Batch for me. The Bad Batch to me feels like a compilation of things we know and love from the previous series in the style of the Clone Wars. They bring in characters from the Clone Wars and Rebels, not really because it serves their story of Omega joining the crew and losing Crosshair, but more so because it will be cool and it excites fans. But in order to bring these things in, they have to sacrifice their own story. So we don't get to see much of what is happening with Crosshair or even focus on characters like Tech and Echo at all. And while seeing familiar things from the series that I love so much is so great in the moment, it doesn't stick with me the same way as it did with Rebels, because the actual story is lacking. While the other series all strive to bring something new to the table, the Bad Batch unapologetically relies on the existence of what came before it. I think the issue is that this show wants to be two things at once. It wants to be a series about the Bad Batch taking in a younger clone that, like them, is very different, and doing so would humanize the characters more as they all become loving caretakers for this kid, who at the same time has an interesting backstory that makes her a huge target. On the other hand, it wants to be a series that transitions the Clone Wars into the Imperial era. It wants to show what happened after. So they combine these two ideas to make a series about that transition through the eyes of the Bad Batch while tacking on the story of Omega and Crosshair. And I'm not saying it is impossible to do a series that combines these two things, but season 1 shows that they could not balance it all at once. But I have high hopes that the second season can do so. We know there will be surprises in this upcoming season, like getting to see the return of Gungi, but from what we have seen in the trailers, I actually like some of the characters they picked. For example, I think having a Jedi show up will be an interesting story choice for this group of clones, considering what happened at the start of the series with Order 66 and Kanan. It will be cool to see Omega meet Force users. I just hope that they use that chance to develop their main characters rather than bringing in Gungi to confirm what happened to him after we had last seen him. If season 2 focuses more on the actual story that they set up, with each of their main characters getting something to do, then that will improve the series so much in my opinion. I am excited to start watching the next season tonight at midnight, and will be sure to let you all know what I think of the series after seeing 2 seasons. In the past, Star Wars animated series don't always have the best of luck with first seasons, so I think they have a chance to make this series into something truly amazing. I can't wait to discuss it with you all. Until next time, may the Force be with you always, and SWE out.